Hi, welcome to Talkin Business. I'm Joe Catrambone, and I'm CEO of the Stuart Martin County Chamber of Commerce. And I've got with me today a longtime associate and friend, as well as our district, currently 83 district of Florida House of Representatives, soon to become 85. Toby, I guess we'll talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
And also owner of Crossroads Environmental Consultants, who's been a member of our chamber and other chambers long before he was a state representative.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for taking time out of your day.
My pleasure.
I know you're busy, but I'm so glad to have you here.
Well, thank you.
One of the things I do, and a lot of people know you, obviously, but some people won't. So one of the things I like to do is warm up the people a little bit. Tell us a little bit how long you've been in Martin County,
Sure.
what brought you here, and a little bit about your business, if you would.
So I was raised and educated, if you will, in the Northeast, in New England. Born in Rhode Island. I was a Navy baby, so I moved around a little bit while Dad did various tours in Vietnam, time at the Pentagon, etc. And then we settled in Massachusetts, raised there for the most part, and then went on to school up there in Schenectady, New York, at Union College, and worked on Cape Cod for a little while, and then got a calling to come down here to be an environmental scientist in the Florida Keys. And so my very first day in the state of Florida was the day after Hurricane Andrew. And
in the Keys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I drove down from my
Wow.
summer home that I was living in at the time in Cape Cod, and drove right through Homestead the day after. And so I saw Florida at its worst. And when I got to the place I was working on Big Pine, everything was okay, and I really saw Florida at its best as well. That was my first day in Florida, and I've never left. I have been here since '92. Slowly migrated up the coast. Got a job at Florida Atlantic University. I was a scientist with them going through my graduate school, and at the same time worked on the restoration of the Kissimmee River. And so that's how it got me into really doing some ecosystem work here. And that was now 95 that I worked on that prior to restoration. And here we just celebrated the final restoration of the Kissimmee River this past year, as a matter of fact. So
Yeah, congratulations on it. Obviously that's a segue into making our whole ecosystem work,
most certainly.
and the restoration of the Everglades. It's all part of it. That was straightening out putting the bend back in the Kissimmee
Exactly.
River, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
that took a lot. That took a lot of time and effort.
It certainly did, and a lot of
money.
science with it, and we've seen the benefits of it already.
Yeah.
However, there is certainly still some remnant phosphorus and nitrogen that are coming from the areas there, things we need to be dealing with. But that research really gave me the opportunity then to break into Florida, if you will. I had an opportunity then coming out of graduate school to go right into private consulting, and took it. It was the highest paying job. Had a young family at the time, and so we went into private consulting, and I've never looked back since. Most recently, I merged Crossroads Environmental with engineering, design, and construction, and we have about 50 people that are working together now. We're based in Tradition in Port St. Lucie, and really have a great opportunity there. So things are going along well.
Great. That's congratulations.
Well,
on
thank
that.
you. Thank you.
I didn't realize I didn't know about the merger.
Yep.
So
So I came together with 3 other partners: Mike Owen, Brad Curry, and Rod Kennedy, and the 4 of us run engineering, design, and construction up there. And we're based in the Christ Fellowship Church, which was formerly Digital Domain, which is kind of ironic in that our company actually, Engineering, Design, and Construction (EDC), did that building originally, and then when Christ Fellowship took it over, we have a great relationship with them, and so we lease some space
That's
with
really
them.
great. And you have 50 people?
We're up and down from 50 and going up. Let's put it that way. So things are going along real well right now, as you can imagine. And we work from Jacksonville to Miami, but a majority of our business is on the Treasure Coast, no doubt about it. That's our sweet spot.
Great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, thank
That's
you.
great.
Thank you. And so what was interesting also, when I was going through the environmental consulting side, it really exposed me to regulations, to local regulations, to different things like that. And that was the kind of the lead into a bit to the legislature And then my dad, of course, was challenging me, and we'd have long conversations. So he was a Republican in Massachusetts. I grew up a Republican in Massachusetts.
That's an oddity.
Exactly, we certainly were, and but we're tried and true. And then as a result, as we had long discussions, he finally challenged me and said, "Well, it's time to put your money where your mouth is." And so I ended up running for the Florida State House and was elected in 2018 and been serving ever since.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you what. It's a huge undertaking. I mean, to run and get
Sure.
elected, and then to fulfill the obligations.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I asked Gail. Gail Harrell was here. Senator Harrell was here before, and I asked her, does she remember what triggered the fire in her belly to run for office? So I guess it was your dad
And my dad, as well as really trying to understand regulations a little bit more. I'd gone through Leadership Martin, Class 9. Also went through Leadership Florida and had that statewide exposure then. And really looking at how government can sometimes be all-encompassing and doesn't really allow for the free market, doesn't recognize the freedoms and liberties that an individual has. So wanted to make sure that was protected as well. And those are some of the things that push me forward towards government and towards this role of a legislator that allows me then to work with my other legislators and head towards prosperity and freedom, if you will.
Is it what you expected? Any surprises?
Lots of surprises. Yes, absolutely. You get up there and it's this fire hose is absolutely turned on you. No doubt about it. We are, I thought I knew a lot of stuff before I got there, and I didn't. I really didn't. I knew a thimble's worth. And to have that really trained upon you, it takes a couple of years to, number one, understand how to run a bill, how many bills you have, who to contact, how to work with staff, how to work with your classmates and the people around you, and then also how to work with the Senate staff, because of course we can't just get a bill through our side, we have to get it through the Senate, and then we have to work with the governor as well to make sure that whatever we do, he doesn't veto. So we have a lot of different things there, and it was the amount of information is amazing. So whether it be working with our local school board and the teachers union and understanding both sides of that and kind of trying to be a mediator there, or whether it be working with the firefighters in St. Lucie who have a fire district, whereas in Martin County it's a quote unquote regular fire department, so very different. They're right out of the tax base there. So there's a lot of different things that you learn and how you learn them. And of course, in the meantime, we had a couple of hurricanes here. So then working with emergency management and making sure that our local municipalities had as much as we could. And then you throw in that we had a little issue with our bridge, the Roosevelt Bridge, and had some structural issues there. So working with DOT and the whole time making sure that we're coordinating with our locals. And it's been amazing in the constituent service side, in the learning side, and some of the things that I've been able to be fortunate to be exposed to, such as Cape Canaveral and the different rocket materials there, Camp Blanding and our incredible National Guard and our Army services that are up there, working with our educational groups. And Florida now has the #1 higher education system in the entire country. So when you look at that, and it's not just been 1 year, it's been several years we've done this. So what's great about that is just it's really preparing us for that next level. And of course, I've been fortunate enough to serve with Governor DeSantis the entire time. So working towards just the free state of Florida has been absolutely fantastic.
So what has been, or what do you see the biggest obstacle in the process for you to get a bill passed, let's say, for instance?
Well, it's number one, you come up with a great idea. And you think, all right, this is going to be fantastic. This is going to solve this problem, that problem, this problem. The biggest issue is identifying those that may not see the world in the same way that you do. And then bringing those people to the table as well. And then having the horsepower to get your idea all the way up to the table, then across the table, and then finally delivered to the governor. And then in the meantime, you're convincing an entire other body that you haven't been elected to, the Senate, that this is a good idea as well, and convincing a partner over there. So I think that's the biggest challenge to get it across. And you have 119 other people in the House. You have 40 other people in the Senate that all have to agree or at least a majority of them do, to get that passed. And what is also interesting, Joe, is that in the Florida House, generally, a majority of our bills pass with either unanimously or close to unanimously. And so there's not this incredible divisiveness that we see on our federal level. Is there divisiveness? Absolutely. And then you find that on some of the keynote issues where Republicans and Democrats differ. There's no doubt about that. But a lot of our bills, whether it be on agriculture, environment, a lot of our healthcare bills, a lot of the education bills, there's so much that we all see eye to eye.
Is there a strategy? For instance, you're going to present a bill. Obviously, you're going to get a sponsor in the House. Is there a strategy while you're doing that on how to encourage a senator to sign on, or for them to? Is there a strategy, or is that?
Well, you typically want to pick a senator that you have similarities with, or that has identified a similar issue that they like, because most likely the bill that they run in the Senate will have a little bit of their own fingerprints on it. It's not often that the bills are exactly identical as they proceed through. So you want to identify somebody over there that's similar thinking for the most part. Typically the two of you get along, and you're able to talk as strategies and moving this forward. And then also the House member has to recognize, well, we have seven bill slots. They have an innumerable amount. So I've had senators that have had 10 bills in a session, and other senators that have 70 bills filed in a session. So those are some different things that we have to do, and we identify those people over there. And then, of course, with term limits, you are now also working with staff members a lot more. So you're working with those staff members. The staff members are identifying, all right, these are your issues, these aren't your issues. So
they're more in control, don't you think?
At times, yeah. And once you recognize that in fact they are somewhat in control, then you can deal with that. But I got to tell you, some of those staff members are so knowledgeable. We have a gentleman that I work with a lot. He remembers back 30, 35 years ago and has that knowledge base. He says, "Oh yeah, I remember a bill like this, and this was the issues with that." So you can use that knowledge if you're smart enough to be able to transform your bill a bit.
What was your biggest surprise or the most eye-opening thing about getting elected and going to Tallahassee?
Well, I think to really be blunt is that there are some people up there that you're amazed that they're there.
That's everywhere.
And so some compatriots on both sides of the aisle, you're just like, oh my gosh, how did this person get here? But all that being said, I think the other side of it is the depth and breadth of the knowledge that we're expected to know. And I think that was a big surprise as well to understand that. So, and then finally, really understanding how much campaigning comes into it, campaign monies, that type of stuff come into the fold, and then understanding the relationships between lobbyists, staff members of the House, and then also making sure that you're playing by the rules so that you're not coming into conflict with those rules.
I would have loved to have been a lobbyist.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to have been a lobbyist.
You'd be good at it.
I probably would have gotten in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But, so, how much of a role do they play, in not just with you, but in the House and in the legislature overall?
So as a House member, I was a majority whip this year, so I'm exposed to a lot of different things and have a lot of responsibilities. Lobbyists can help by keeping your issue focused. So they work for an individual. Let's say that there's a lobbyist out there that all they want to do is put 2 handles on every coffee cup, and that is their thing. So while I'm focused on other things that are going through, they're still focused on that. They're running the traps on it. They're finding out who it is that is opposed to two handles on a coffee cup, and they then come back to that with that information back to me. So, and then I'm able to deal with it and or try to overcome whatever it may be. So that's kind of the good lobbyists are doing that. They're running the traps for you. And of course, they're working for that company that makes the two-handled coffee
Sure,
mugs.
they've got a vested interest.
Exactly. And that's their client, and they want to bring that forward. So those are the people that really give us a lot of information, and the good lobbyists are those that then go out and disseminate that information to our other compatriots within the House, so that as we get to committees, as we get to the floor, that opposition starts to dissipate, or if it comes forward, we're well prepared in order to be able to deal with it. And those are the good lobbyists.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of good lobbyists. But
There certainly are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you a loaded question.
Uh-oh.
Is DeSantis going to run for president?
That is really up to him.
What's the consensus? I mean, what is the consensus in Tallahassee?
As a legislator who's worked with him for 4 years, I'd love to see him stay for all 4 years as governor.
Me too. I think he'd be a great president.
And I think he will definitely be a great president when that option is open. I think the only person that can really answer that is Mr. DeSantis and his wife, and they're going to make that decision. Like I said, selfishly, I'd love to have him for all 4 years, but I also want what's best for this country.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything we want to talk about that we might have missed or haven't covered?
Well, I did want to talk a little bit about an issue that's come forward called PFAS and PFOA. These are what's also called forever chemicals, and it's something that has really presented itself in my very first term with the city of Stuart, and they have done an incredible job, Joe. I mean, absolutely, to serve their constituents. And this is a chemical that was originally identified in fire foam, but we've now found it in Gore-Tex, we found it in Teflon, we found it in a whole bunch of, even down to McDonald's and Burger King wrappers. And even down to your microwave popcorn wrapper. So these are some things that are out there right now. You and I both have it in our bloodstream, and we aren't really sure what exactly it does, though, to us. It could have some developmental issues. It could have potential carcinogenic issues, potential kidney issues. So there's a lot of different things there. But the federal government just put out a requirement that it was actually a guideline, that basically makes all water go to non-detectable limits for this material. And the city of Stuart is way ahead of the curve, has already jumped on this. Martin County is right behind it. And so this is something that I think we're going to be working on over the next several years and how to deal with it. I just passed a bill this year along with a compatriot of mine, Lawrence McClure, that really looks at this. It's the first bill of its kind in the nation, and requires municipalities to start to put in a plan to deal with this. And at the same time, it gives them about 3 years in order to deal with it, and gives them some breathing room from being sued by residents or others if, in fact, they have not dealt with it immediately. So gives them that time, that runway to take care of this, but I have a feeling we're going to be really working on this over the next several years, and it's PFAS is the material. So go ahead and Google it out there. And
I've followed it. I've seen some of it. And that's scary.
It is absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your efforts on that, and
sure.
And thank you for giving yourself to our district and to our state for what you do. I know it's a horrendous job, and I know you enjoy it.
I do.
And I think you're very good at it.
Well, I appreciate that. My wife has been such a great champion with me. Maggie's been great.
Couldn't do it without her.
I could not,
sure.
No doubt about it. She's fantastic, and we're moving ahead towards that next time. We'll hopefully be reelected this fall and heading for District 85 and working for the people of both Martin and St. Lucie County.
Well, I'll be with you.
I appreciate that, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great to see you.
Good
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.